Deep inside a temple in Egypt, there is a carving that looks exactly like a light bulb. In the deserts of Iraq, there is a 2,000-year-old clay jar that still generates electricity today. And rising above the Giza plateau stands a monument so precisely engineered that one modern engineer believes it wasn't a tomb at all, but a machine. A power plant, built 5,000 years ago, with technology we still can't fully explain. Mainstream historians call it coincidence. Ancient astronaut theorists call it proof. So what if the ancient world wasn't lit by fire and oil lamps, but by something far more advanced? What if the first power plants on Earth weren't built by us, but for us, by someone else? Before we go any further, if you're new here, subscribe right now, because we uncover mysteries like this every single week, and you do not want to miss what's coming later in this video. This is the story of the ancient power plants. Our story begins in 1936, near the city of Baghdad, in what was then the Kingdom of Iraq. An Austrian archaeologist named Wilhelm Koenig is cataloging artifacts at the National Museum when he comes across something strange. A small clay jar, barely taller than a coffee mug. Inside it, a cylinder of copper. Inside that, a rod of iron. To most people, this would look like nothing. A broken pot. But Koenig recognizes the shape immediately, because it's the same basic design as a modern battery. Fill that jar with an acidic liquid, vinegar, or even grape juice, and something remarkable happens. A chemical reaction begins between the copper and the iron, and it generates an electrical charge. This isn't speculation. Scientists have built exact replicas of the so-called Baghdad battery, filled them with acid, and measured the results. And the results are real. Anywhere between half a volt and several volts of usable electricity, from a jar built more than 2,000 years ago. Mainstream archaeologists have a simple explanation. They say the jar was used to store sacred scrolls, and that any electrical charge it produces is an accident of its materials, not its purpose. But ancient astronaut theorists ask a different question. If ancient civilizations had no concept of electricity, why would they build a device that happens to produce it perfectly? Could the Baghdad battery be the last surviving piece of a much larger technology? A technology introduced to humanity by visitors from beyond our world? And if the ancients of Mesopotamia had access to electricity, were they the only ones? Because 1,000 miles away, in Egypt, there's another clue. One carved directly into the wall of a temple. This is the Temple of Hathor, in Dendera, Egypt, one of the best preserved temple complexes in the entire country. Built more than 2,000 years ago, during the twilight of the Pharaonic Age. Deep inside, in a hidden crypt beneath the main temple, there is a relief carved in stone. And what it shows has puzzled and divided researchers for over half a century. An elongated, oval shape. Inside it, a snake, coiled and stretched from end to end. Below it, a stem, resting on what looks like a pillar, a base. And running beside it, cables. Long, curving lines that stretch toward a nearby object shaped almost exactly like a box. To the untrained eye, this looks like ancient religious art. But to engineers and electrical researchers who have studied the image, the shape looks like something else entirely. A glass tube, a filament, a socket, and a power source. A light bulb. It was the Swiss author Erich von Däniken, in his landmark 1968 book Chariots of the Gods, who first put this theory in front of a global audience. Von Däniken proposed that the Dendera relief wasn't showing a myth at all, it was showing technology. Electrical lighting, powered by a device strikingly similar to the Baghdad battery found hundreds of miles away. And here's where the theory gets interesting. Because deep inside Egyptian tombs and temple crypts, chambers sealed off from sunlight for thousands of years, researchers have made an odd observation. There's no soot. No carbon staining on the ceilings. If these spaces were lit for years by torches or oil lamps, as mainstream history claims, you would expect centuries of black residue overhead. In many chambers, it simply isn't there. So how did the ancient Egyptians illuminate the darkest, most intricate artwork in human history, without leaving a trace of fire behind? Egyptologists have their own answer. They argue the Dendera image is not a lamp at all, but a well-documented piece of Egyptian mythology, a lotus flower giving birth to a serpent, representing the sun god Ra emerging from the primordial waters of creation. It's a story repeated throughout Egyptian temple art, they say, and every element of it, the lotus, the snake, the pillar, has a known religious meaning that has nothing to do with electricity. And they raise a fair challenge of their own. If the Egyptians truly had electric lighting, where are the wires? Where are the light bulbs? Where are the power stations? Not one has ever been found anywhere in Egypt. But ask an ancient astronaut theorist that question, and they'll turn it right back around. If a civilization far more advanced than the Egyptians gave them this technology, and then that civilization left, wouldn't they take their machines with them? Wouldn't only the depictions, carved permanently into stone, survive? It's a mystery that has never been fully resolved. And it becomes even stranger when you consider what sits less than 300 miles away, on the Giza Plateau. Because according to one modern engineer, the largest and most mysterious structure on Earth might not be a tomb at all. It might be a machine. If you're enjoying this so far, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button, and drop a like on this video. It genuinely helps this channel keep making deep dives like this one, and it takes you 2 seconds. Now, back to the pyramid. The Great Pyramid of Giza. Built, according to conventional history, around 2560 BCE, as a tomb for the pharaoh Khufu. But there's a problem. No mummy has ever been found inside it. No treasure. No inscriptions describing a burial. In fact, nothing definitively links the pyramid's interior to a funeral at all. This absence is exactly what led American engineer Christopher Dunn to a radical conclusion. In his 1998 book, The Giza Power Plant, Dunn argued that the pyramid's true purpose had nothing to do with death, and everything to do with energy. Dunn points to the pyramid's construction. The narrow shafts running through its body, precisely aligned. The Queen's Chamber, containing traces of chemical residue that some researchers associate with reactions involving hydrochloric acid and hydrogen. The Grand Gallery, whose design Dunn compares to a resonating chamber, a structure built to amplify vibration, not to hold a body. His theory, the Great Pyramid was designed to convert the natural vibrations of the Earth into electrical energy, a kind of ancient power station, built on a scale and with a precision that modern engineering would struggle to replicate even today. Could the Great Pyramid have generated electricity? And that precision is the detail ancient astronaut theorists keep coming back to. The Great Pyramid was built with over 2 million stone blocks, some weighing as much as 80 tons, fitted together with a level of accuracy that modern laser tools can barely match. Its base is leveled to within a fraction of an inch across more than 13 acres. To mainstream Egyptologists, this is simply proof of an extraordinarily skilled ancient workforce, one that spent decades perfecting the tools and techniques required. To ancient astronaut theorists, it's proof of something else. That such precision, at such a scale, in the Bronze Age, points to knowledge the Egyptians didn't develop on their own, knowledge that may have come from somewhere far beyond Egypt. And if the pyramid really was built as an energy device, the next question is unavoidable. What, or who, was it powering? Some researchers point to other megalithic sites around the world. Pumapunku in Bolivia, with its impossibly precise stone joints. The ruins of Baalbek in Lebanon, home to the largest cut stones ever used in construction. And they ask whether these sites, thousands of miles apart, could have functioned as nodes in a single ancient system. A system built, they argue, not by separate cultures working in isolation, but by one guiding hand. Fast forward thousands of years, to the turn of the 20th century. Inventor Nikola Tesla is obsessed with a singular idea, the wireless transmission of electricity, sent through the Earth itself, and made available to anyone, anywhere, without wires or cables at all. Tesla never fully realized his vision. His Wardenclyffe Tower project was abandoned, and mainstream science has never confirmed that his method of Earth-based wireless power was even possible at scale. But some researchers have noticed something curious. Tesla's own writings describe using the Earth as a conductor, treating the entire planet as part of the circuit. And that is strikingly similar to theories about how the pyramids, and structures like them, might have used the Earth's natural resonant frequency as a power source. Is it possible that Tesla, considered one of the greatest scientific minds in history, wasn't inventing something new at all? That he was simply rediscovering a principle the ancients already understood, thousands of years before him? It's a connection mainstream historians dismiss as pure coincidence. But for ancient astronaut theorists, it's one more thread in a pattern that spans continents and millennia, a pattern that keeps pointing back to the same unanswered question. So where does that leave us? On one side, mainstream historians and Egyptologists, who argue that every piece of this puzzle has a grounded, human explanation. A misidentified religious carving. A curious but unproven battery. A tomb built by generations of highly skilled, but entirely human, laborers. On the other, researchers who believe the absence of evidence is, itself, a kind of evidence. No wires, because the technology was taken away. No definitive burial, because the pyramid was never a tomb to begin with. No accepted explanation, because the truth doesn't fit inside conventional history. What we do know is this. A functioning battery-like device, found in Iraq. A carving in Egypt that many say resembles a light bulb, down to the cable and the socket. Tombs lit with no trace of fire. And a pyramid so precisely engineered that one modern engineer believes it was never built for the dead at all, but to generate power for the living. Ancient. Advanced. And still, after a century of study, unexplained. Was it all coincidence? Or were the first power plants on Earth built with help from somewhere else entirely? You decide. If this video opened your mind to just how much we still don't know about the ancient world, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications, because we release new investigations into humanity's greatest unsolved mysteries every single week, and you will not want to miss what we uncover next. Drop a comment below and tell us, do you think ancient civilizations had access to electricity? Or is there a simpler explanation we're all missing? And before you go, one more time, hit subscribe, hit the like button, and share this video with someone who loves a good mystery. It really does make a difference for this channel. Until next time, keep questioning everything.